This important interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your money and your identity. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code here to get ExpressVPN right now and save up to 73% on annual plans today. Right, let's get back into it.
Kemi Badenoch, the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate my party with the Prime Minister's comments about Remembrance Week and also his comments on Manfred Goldberg and Mervyn Kirsch, who is in the gallery today. Mr. Speaker, this morning on the BBC, the Health Secretary said there is a toxic culture in Downing Street that needs to change. He's right, isn't he?
Mr. Speaker, my focus each and every day is on rebuilding and renewing our country. Let me be absolutely clear, any attack on any member of my cabinet is completely unacceptable. On the Health Secretary, in relation to Health Secretary, he promised before the election that in the first year of a Labour government we'd deliver 2 million extra appointments. We didn't deliver 2 million, or 3 or 4, we delivered 5 million extra appointments. And today the Health Secretary is in Manchester, where he's announcing that because of the action he's taken to abolish NHS England, he's putting more people on the front line. He's doing a great job, as is the whole of my cabinet.
Mr. Speaker, what we heard the Health Secretary say this morning was that he wants to cut waiting lists, but we all know that there's only one waiting list that he really wants to cut. But the Prime Minister is not going to do anything about the toxic culture. This is his responsibility. Just last night, his allies accused not just the Health Secretary, but the Home Secretary and even the Energy Secretary of launching leadership bids. These attacks came from No. 10, nowhere else, his toxic No. 10. The person responsible for the culture in No. 10 is his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. Does the Prime Minister have full confidence in him?
No. Morgan McSweeney, my team and I are absolutely focused on delivering for the country. And let me be clear, of course, Mr. Speaker, I've never authorised attacks on cabinet members. I appointed them to their posts because they're the best people to carry out their jobs. Mr. Speaker, she asks about waiting lists. Waiting lists are down under this government. The number of GPs is up. And because we scrapped NHS England, we're investing on the front line. That's what the Health Secretary is doing today, getting on with his job, and he's doing a very good job too.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't hear him give full confidence to Morgan McSweeney, but the truth is he says these attacks aren't authorised. That means he's lost control of No. 10, because that's where they're coming from. But the real scandal, Mr. Speaker, the real scandal is that 2 weeks from a budget, the government has descended into civil war. Instead of fixing the mess they've made of the economy, they're all... Mr. Speaker, they're all chuntering. These are the feral MPs that No. 10 has been talking about. They're not my words. They're No. 10's words, his words. But unbelievably, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's advisers have been reduced to briefing that MPs can't get rid of him, and I'm not making this up, they can't get rid of him because it would destabilise international markets. Why does the Prime Minister think that there would be a market meltdown if the Health Secretary took over?
Mr. Speaker, this is a united team and we are delivering together. Look what we delivered. The fastest growth of the G7. 5 interest rate cuts. Trade deals with the EU, the US and India, all of which they oppose, we've delivered. And I can update the House.
If people want to audition for a pantomime, I suggest you go to the Old Vic.
Pantomime. Mr. Speaker, I can update the House. The Bank of England has upgraded growth today. We've secured £230 billion of private investment. And just this morning, I thought she might welcome it, the SSE have announced £33 billion of investment in clean power. That's what this team are delivering for the country, fixing the mess that they left.
Mr. Speaker, he's talking about growth and investment. While the Prime Minister desperately tries to cling on to his own job, perhaps he understands what it's like for all those people out there losing their jobs. How can he talk about growth? Yesterday, we learned that unemployment has risen to the same rate as it was in lockdown. 180,000 jobs lost, Mr. Speaker. Why does the Prime Minister think that unemployment has risen every single month since Labour took office?
Every time you're online, your money and your identity are at risk. Scams now make up nearly 40% of all crime in the UK. That's thousands of attacks every single day. In Britain, someone has their identity stolen every 2 minutes, leaving victims with wrecked finances and years of stress. The threat is real, and you could be next. ExpressVPN is your shield against criminals. It locks down your devices, hiding your personal information and financial details from hackers, scammers, and anyone else looking to exploit you. So whether you're checking your bank, shopping, or just browsing, ExpressVPN makes you invisible to prying eyes trying to steal your money and your identity. ExpressVPN shields your data with military-grade AES 256 encryption. That's the same standard trusted by the US government to guard classified information. This is the highest level of online security you can get. So don't wait for disaster. Secure up to 14 devices at once and get powerful password protection. Real support is available 24/7 because cybercrime never sleeps. Save up to 73% on annual plans today. Every moment you hesitate is another moment you're exposed. Protect your money and protect your identity. Get ExpressVPN right now.
Mr. Speaker, let me give the House the details. 329,000 people more are in work since the start of this year. So 329,000 more are in work. Of course, I accept we need to do more in relation to unemployment. That's why we're transforming job centres, which they opposed. That's why we're working with 60 major businesses to tackle ill health in the workplace, and invested £3.8 billion in tailored back-to-work support, which they oppose. I would also remind the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, that the average unemployment in the 14 years of her government was 5.4% higher than the rate today.
Mr. Speaker, we left employment higher than it was after the last Labour government. And let me tell him now, what is causing it is his disastrous budget last year. That is what has caused the increase in unemployment. And so to be clear, for all those Labour MPs shaking their heads, it's last year's tax rises that have killed jobs, and that's what's going to trigger this year's tax rises. This is the tax doom loop, and there is only one way out of it, and that is to cut spending. So why is the Prime Minister instead offering welfare giveaways to save his own skin?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll tell the Opposition why we increased national insurance. It's because of the mess that they left the country in. The NHS on its knees. Now we've got 5 million extra appointments, waiting lists down, and 2,500 more GPs as a result of our decisions. But it's nearly the one-year anniversary, but she still hasn't told us in relation to national insurance whether she agrees and admits that we should do it, or if if that's her position, how she would find the money that we raised in the budget. She's had a whole year to think about that question. Perhaps now she can give us an answer.
Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't have made the stupid mistake in the first place of putting up the jobs tax and killing jobs. Since they came in, it's been disaster after disaster. The Deputy Prime Minister, the new Deputy Prime Minister, is clueless about how many illegal migrant sex offenders he's let loose. The Culture Secretary, breaking the rules to give her donor a top job. Taxes set to rise even further. Unemployment at levels not seen since lockdown. And in the middle of it, a weak Prime Minister at war with his own cabinet. Mr. Speaker, it's not just him, it is all of them. There is no replacement, it is all of them. 2 weeks before the budget, isn't it the case that this Prime Minister has lost control of his government, he's lost the confidence of his party, and lost the trust of the British people?
Mr. Speaker, the stupid mistakes were made over 14 long years. They broke the economy, and now they think that they can lecture us. And now they've got this unserious idea that they can find £47 billion of cuts without saying where they're going to come from. No wonder that's called flimsy. Meanwhile, we're rebuilding the country. Wages up, investment up, mortgages down.
Order. Mr. Phil. You were meant to be a senior person on this front bench. You're meant to set an example. It's certainly a bad one today. Sir Joseph.
Mr. Speaker, despite extra government funding, adult social care services in my community are in disarray. My constituents are also facing a new fire risk because we don't have a fully functioning fire authority. This has all been caused by the dysfunction at Kent County Council because so many reform councillors have been suspended for bad behaviour. So does the Prime Minister share my concern that reform chaos is a risk to public safety?
My sympathy is with the people of Kent whose lives are being disrupted by the staggering incompetence of reform. Mr. Speaker, Kent County Council was supposed to be the blueprint for what reform would deliver across the country. Now we can see what that means. Cutting local services, raising council tax, failing to protect the public. That's all reform have to offer. Grievance, division and total incompetence.
Of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with the earlier remarks of the Prime Minister and say what a great honour it was to join the royal family at the Cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday to pay our respects to all those heroes who gave their lives for our country. We must never forget the sacrifice they made for our freedoms. Mr. Speaker, a great British institution is under attack from a foreign government. President Trump is trying to destroy our BBC, not because he cares about the truth, but because he doesn't want to get away with his lies. Trump has undermined press freedom in America. Now he's trying to do the same here, disgracefully egged on by the leader of reform. So will the Prime Minister tell President Trump to drop his demand for $1 billion settlement from the BBC? And will he guarantee that President Trump will not get a single penny from British licence fee payers?
Let me be clear, I believe in a strong and independent BBC. Some would rather the BBC didn't exist. Some of them are sitting up there. I'm not one of them. In an age of disinformation, the argument for impartial British news service is stronger than ever. And where mistakes are made, they do need to get their house in order, and the BBC must uphold the highest standards, be accountable and correct errors quickly. But I will always stand up for a strong, independent BBC.
Davey.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is right that the BBC's independence and impartiality are absolutely crucial. That's why we must stop President Trump from undermining them. But President Trump's not the only one, Mr. Speaker. The last government spent years undermining the BBC's independence and impartiality. They put 2 Conservative cronies on the BBC board. One has had to resign, the other's still there. But he's been repeatedly accused of interfering in editorial decisions and staff appointments. Robbie Gibbs should have no role in appointing the next Director General. And given the Royal Charter gives the government the power to remove him, will the Prime Minister sack him now?
Mr. Speaker, I certainly agree with the comment that the last government undermined the work of the BBC. They undermined pretty well everything they did in 14 years. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to go into the individual runnings of the BBC. I am a strong supporter of the BBC in the terms I've already set out.
Don't puffy.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, this is Care Leavers Month, when we remember the resilience and the brilliance of our young people who have grown up in care. And I was delighted to welcome a group of Southampton's care leavers to share their views with the Minister recently. But while this Labour government is taking real action to support care leavers, a Reform councillor has disgracefully described children in care as downright evil. Will the Prime Minister... said it, will the Prime Minister, and I hope the whole House, join me in condemning Reform's vile rhetoric, and will he reassure us that this Labour government will continue to support the protections and opportunities for all our care leavers?
Well, Mr. Speaker, November marks the first ever Care Leavers Month, and that is a time to recognise that every child deserves support to achieve their potential. And through our landmark Children's Wellbeing Bill, we're requiring every local authority to help care leavers find secure accommodation. It saddens me that the parties opposite voted against it. The comments about children in care being evil are utterly appalling. And now the member for Clacton has heard them. I'm sure he'll want to condemn them right now.
Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, I've only got 30 seconds. The Prime Minister has stated very clearly that he wants to close the migrant hotels by the end of this Parliament. Well, the reform-led West Northamptonshire Council, brilliantly led council, will be issuing foreclosure notices on 3 migrant hotels within the next few days in response to grave public concern about the safety of women and girls on the streets of West Northamptonshire. Would the Prime Minister approve of us speeding up the closure of the migrant hotels?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we will grip the mesh we inherited and close every hotel. At their peak, under the previous government, there were 400 hotels. Now there are only 200 remaining. But he says he doesn't have time to condemn the comments calling children in care evil. He's also not had the time, it appears, to condemn the racist comments of his own MP. Utterly spineless.